Hey, Michael, welcome to Crosswalk Talk. Thanks for joining me.
It's great to be joined and to be able to join someone. And as Chris Farley would say, that's awesome.
That's how I feel right now. Chris Farley interviewing Michael Jordan on SNL. You and I were joking about that a moment ago. Michael Sweet, you're the front man for the legendary band, Grammy nominated and dub winning group Stryper. You guys have a new 11-track acoustic album out now, To Hell with the Amps. It's a stripped down version of Stryper classics, including Loud and Clear, Soldiers Under Command, Honestly, and of course the classic hymn Amazing Grace, which you guys of course did not write that, but it's a classic hymn.
Yeah.
And you guys are embarking on an 18-city tour beginning May 30th. Michael, people don't think of acoustic in the same sentence with Stryper. This seems to have been a passion project for you guys. How did you guys get started on this, and why did you want to do it?
Well, there's a lot to that question. Here's the thing: a lot of people don't know. A lot of these songs, when I say these songs, I mean Stryper songs, were written on acoustic guitar. So that's first. And what happens with me when I'm writing, if I get an idea, I'll grab the nearest guitar, and it's always an acoustic guitar. And so it's very interesting to know that some of these songs have been written on acoustic. And I've been performing these songs out live acoustically for over 10 years. And some of these same versions, like All for One, I recorded Always There For You on my second solo album, Real. And this is the same version of that. And it somehow works. I mean, the thing about Stryper that's different from other metal bands or hard rock bands is we've got the two guitars, and we've also got three voices, three vocals. So we could do the harmony things, and we can pull that off acoustically. Some of the other bands can't really pull it off because maybe they're having other people sing on the album, and then live there's only one singer or two singers, but not three. So it makes it easier for Stryper to go out and pull it off, and it actually works, man. It's going to be a killer set, killer show, killer tour, and you just got to come out and see it to believe it. It's going to be really great.
Yeah, it's going to be more of an intimate tour.
Absolutely. More intimate. Like, we're going to have carpets on the stage, and we'll be wearing jeans and dressed down, not the yellow and black. And I'm going to be telling some stories about the songs and the process and the history of the band. It's going to be really cool, and you're going to learn some new things that you didn't know.
Do you have some favorite acoustic versions of these songs?
Well, I mean, some of my favorite songs on the album, I'm always a fan of All for One. That's one of my favorite Stryper songs of all time. I love the fact that we did this cover of Amazing Grace, something I've always wanted to do. We were able to finally do it. And then another one that's kind of interesting and somehow always works is Soldiers Under Command. You wouldn't think that would work acoustically, but it does.
Yeah. There's a new studio album coming out as well for you guys. Give me a preview of that.
Yeah, that's coming out in September. And we finished that. We went in January and February and finished it in March. And we're really excited about that, I got to tell you. As much as the acoustic album, we love the acoustic album, but this album, it has some different, unique twists and turns along the way, and it takes you back to the past, yet it keeps you in the present. It's not a dated sounding album, but it does have those melodies that kind of you can sing along to, more anthem style. And we're really excited about it. It kind of worked out perfectly, and we don't know how or why. We have no explanation, because you would think it wouldn't, with all the situations going on in the band and things that we've been faced with. It just magically came together and worked.
A lot of people, Michael, are discovering you guys thanks to a new movie, Unsung Heroes. And I'm excited that you guys were featured in that. And the cool thing is Lecrae and For King Country have launched a remake of To Hell with the Devil, which is really odd, I think, and kind of probably surreal for yourself, because that was a little controversial song back in the 80s. And now you have these award-winning artists in CCM and CHH remaking that song. What was that like for you to see that song featured in a movie and kind of the Christian community embrace you?
Really cool. Really, really cool, and humbling to say the least. But at the same time, the other part of that story that not a lot of people know about, and if you see the movie, you'll know more about it. We have quite a history with the Smallbone family, with Joel and Luke, and even Rebecca, when she was a little younger girl. Their father David brought us over to Australia for the first time, and we performed there, and we hung out with the kids, and went to the zoo with the family, and they were at the show, and we met them, and it's just really wild to know that almost 40 years later, here we have a movie with them presenting the history and their life story and what they went through and the perseverance and how they came out of that and rose above it is really incredible. And to know that we played a small role in that is very cool.
And Luke portrayed, did he portray you?
He did. Luke portrayed me. And he's quite a bit taller than I am. I'm 6'1". I think he's like 6'5" or something like that. But he portrayed me, and Israel Anthem, a friend of ours who shot our Transgressor video, portrayed Robert.
Okay.
In terms of the other two guys, I'm not sure their names, to be honest, but it was really cool. Did it look exactly like us or how we dressed or looked at the time? Not exactly, but they made the point. They got the point across that it's obviously Stryper,
Yeah. I loved the movie. My only complaint was I needed a little more Stryper. I needed like a couple of songs in there, but that's a minor complaint. That's just because I'm a fan of Stryper. You guys are known as, of course, a heavy metal rock group. Tell me how your music has served as a bridge for the gospel to people who are fans of heavy metal, but don't know Christ. Do you have unbelievers come to your show?
Oh, yeah. We have unbelievers come to the show. We have believers come to the show. We've always been a band that set out to, our goal was always to go into mainstream world and perform. Go into the bars, go into the clubs, go into those venues, arenas with bands like, White Lion. And, we were never a church band. That just wasn't our calling. And now it's many other bands' callings, and that's fine. That's great. But if you think about it, when you're going into the church and you're playing for the church, you're already playing to the saved. You're playing to people who are already, for the most part, saved. And so we just wanted to reach people that didn't step foot in a church, like us when we were growing up. And I'll never forget when we first started going to Calvary Chapel and we became a Stryper and we were playing locally. We started going to this church called Calvary Chapel of Calvary Chapel of West Covina, which was a branch of Costa Mesa, came out of that movement. And we started going there, and there was 4 or 5 or 6 of us. And then the following week, there was 8 of us. The following week, there was 12 of us. The following week, there was 24 of us. And then after about 6, 7 months, literally there was like 40, 50, 60 big hair, rocked up people going to this church. And it became kind of the metal church. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. You guys were about a decade after the Jesus movement, but were you guys impacted by that? Maybe the echoes of the Jesus movement at the time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember performing down in Hollywood when I was a teenager, and, Arthur Blessett and his group would come and preach to me. And while I was sitting outside Gazzari smoking a Sherman, trying to be cool, and they would talk to me. And I remember thinking, being nice, but not wanting to hear it.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of running from God at that time. And then I rededicated my life when I was 20, 4 or 5 years later. And the rest is history, as they say. So, oh yeah, we felt that movement, and we were a part of that movement indirectly. But then by 1982, 83, actually 83, that's when we devoted our lives and we joined the movement.
Because you've talked before about how you guys were a rock band that became Christians instead of Christians that became a rock band. So I think that's really cool. Would you say the church nearly pushed you guys away? Because folks who don't know your story, I guess one of the quickest ways is just to watch the Jesus, I think it was Jesus Music, came out a few years ago, and you guys were open in that about how I think Jimmy Swaggart and a few others were kind of calling you guys the singers of devil's music.
Yeah.
Tell me just briefly how that impacted you guys, and if maybe some lessons we could learn from your story as well.
Well, I mean, I think the lesson is to be very cautious about, people use the scriptures about judging and how we're called to judge people. And I think they misinterpret that and twist it into their own scripture. And we got to be really cautious of that. What that means, we're supposed to hold each other accountable, but you're not supposed to go out with a hateful heart and in a godless spirit and judge people, because all that does is turn people away from God. And there's scriptures about that too. And some pretty severe, it'd be better for you to have stones tied around and cast into the deepest part of the sea. You have to be very careful about stumbling other people and turning other people away from God. So I feel that the church does that far too often. I only know that because I'll post something about Rob Halford saying he's a great singer, and then you should see all the anti-gay, he's gonna burn in hell, all the comments on my page. And it's like, wow. You do know Rob's probably reading all these comments, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of blows my mind. That's the world we live in. It's unreal.
Yeah, we tend to post things without thinking, what's that person going to think and react to? How are they going to react if they see our comments?
I think because we live in a me world. It's all about self-gratification. Everyone's giving their opinion. Look at me on social media. Here's 100 selfies of me in my bathroom. That's the world we live in, sadly, and we all fall prey to that. But it doesn't make it right, and we need to all be very careful of that.
Tell me how you have kept your voice all these years. I've always been blown away how you sound really similar to what you sounded like in the 80s, but so many groups don't. They don't. And I'm just curious, what has been the secret to you sounding nearly identical, if not identical, to what you sounded like 40 years ago?
Well, I mean, the only thing I could say is, how some people say they signed a deal with the devil. I signed a deal with God. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't. My voice isn't the same that it used to be. It's definitely changed. I can't hit all the notes I used to be able to hit, nor really do I want to or would I want to. But I'm very thankful that I can still sing and go out and pull off what I need to pull off mostly. And I give credit to God for that. I mean, God still wants me here and wants me to do this, and he sustains me and keeps me going. So, and I work hard too. I'm a hard worker. I don't overindulge. I try to take care of myself. I try to condition myself and just stay healthy. And, I don't really have any tips or secrets. I don't warm up for 4 hours before every show and have these potions that I drink or anything. I just kind of go out and do my thing.
One of the coolest things that I've seen on our videos online, they have these channels that show people's reaction to hearing a song for the first time. And a lot of those channels, some of the coolest videos are people listening for the first time to Stryper music. And they're just blown away by your voice, by the harmony, by I guess the sweetness of some of the songs. I think that's some of the reaction of is how pure the lyrics are. And so that's so cool to see you guys still impacting people for the kingdom. One final question: why do you guys still do what you're doing? Why are we? I think a lot of people would have expected Stryper to retire by now, but you guys are still going strong. Why are you still going strong? And what keeps you going?
Well, speaking for myself, I still love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. And I get excited about it. Now, maybe someday that passion will fade and the excitement will fade. And then at that time, I might have to reevaluate what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But right now, I still love it. And as long as I do, and I feel that there's a calling on my life, I'm going to pursue that and continue down that road. So that's why I'm still here making music. And now, if you ask the other guys, reason why I answered for myself, you might get different answers from the other guys.
Yeah.
I always make the joke about my brother Rob. If someone walked in with $10 million and they handed it to you and they said, but you've got to retire, would you? He says, well, of course. So Rob might retire, if the opportunity were to present itself. But, I still love music, man. I'm still passionate about it. And I have opportunities to do it. And I'm going to keep walking through those doors of opportunity until God says no more.
Amen. We've been speaking to Michael Sweet, the frontman for the legendary band Stryper. You guys, of course, have a new 11-track acoustic album out now, To Hell with the Amps, and a new 18-city tour starting May 30th, and a studio album coming up. We'll learn more about that later this year. People can get more information about that at stryper.com. Michael, God bless. Thank you so much.
Hey, brother. God bless you too, man. Thanks for everything. Great job. And I will see you hopefully soon, Michael, at a Stryper show.